tao chinga aba chani ko purong-rong ngomen ko antang japsi bolwa agi imang tao burung-rang ko dalat tulnamat naha.
The sun rises over the eastern hills of Selbalgri village. Nokma Pletsen and Sangma, the village chief, is busy heading the meeting of the executive members of the Village Reserve Forest Committee. He has spent a lifetime mobilizing his people in the formation of these reserve forests.
Chingnidao reserve tundengapa phanaba manasam ndiba chinga mainigman phalgen ndiba chinga chirum chibis pungnagata chinga thangan hangkhari khai dona.
For the Garos, the sacred forests have been sacrosanct. A forest meant for sacred ceremonial functions, where the trees were worshipped and preserved by the villagers.
Ya sungo larang ba jetna manja bolwa ko ndiba iko denga bade knalam banen dallen shagen.
Ranku in Sangma, Garo himself, joined the Forest Department of the Garo Hills Autonomous District Council, GHADC, in 2001.
We have a very different land tenure system where majority of the land is owned by the communities. And for example, in Garo Hills, say out of the total geographical area of 8,197 square kilometers, only around 600 odd square kilometers is owned by the government. The rest belongs to the people, the communities. And the district council here is entrusted with the management of these forests.
With increasing population pressures, the slash and burn techniques of farming, known locally as jhuming, became much more intensive, resulting in deforestation and degradation of the forest.
Skang chasung getang jaha chasung riang mimisi rangba amatum dongjai mimisi rangkoba manjahani gemen chirung siskrangkoba tange rakhina nangenni chingamungsa chanchiani ko dakaha.
A farmer in Selbalgri village, has been recruited to patrol the Selbalgri Forest Reserve. It's a duty this frail-looking man carries out with diligence, pride, and a sense of ownership.
I am Selbalgrinian, the Naruya Forest Reserve ko an Irokpainga, Jau Changatam, Pachangani Dakere Ibaininga, Mandirang Bold and Amadenja, Aro Maturung Ranga Jaga Chakama Chakja, Ayako Ibain Nirokpainga. Dimana Jau Angna in a Yanikuni Rokanina, Jau Hatagatam on Painga.
Everything is decided by the community themselves. It's very important for the villagers to be present when we survey the land, because that not only gives them a sense of ownership, but it also gives them a good, clear idea about the boundary and the extent of the proposed village reserves. Depending on the type of VRF and depending on the type of objective of that VRF, if it is for habitat, then we try to have more food trees for these animals. And if it is for conservation of their water source, we try to sit with the villagers, the communities, and decide upon species which were earlier there. Because now we have seen that many species have started disappearing, and plantation is not like a natural regeneration. So we try to go to the old original species, and that is how it is rejuvenated.
Today, this former headhunting tribe's dependence on forests for sustenance and livelihood is very heavy.
Nadze tangka gongsong gede watako songli nukni banderangan yano kai jange tangpainga.
Rifala in Misi Magri village is a member of a unique group. A women's only group that shoulders the responsibility of looking after the village reserve forest, an important water catchment area site.
Aga Misi Magri Sonia Rifila Mara Burung Bolgram ko Burung Bolgram ni gaman singa bolongin gamsata ni given singa Burung Bolgram ko rakian ichin singa Chirang ko singa rengnamat inga.
It is a unique system in our culture, in our tradition. We have got village reserve forest. In time immemorial, our forefathers they practiced this village reserve forest, but due to socio-economic condition, due to bad in economic condition, they couldn't continue. Since they are getting now alternative resource and source of livelihood through district council, through state government, they are now giving lands to preserve the forest area. Now nobody will be able to cut even a single tree in that areas. We have got staff, enough staff. We will look after it, and we will try our level best to compensate whatever they have given land to our district councils.
However, the recently published National Report on Forests 2017 says that many community forests in Meghalaya are facing degradation, a point refuted by Professor Tiwari.
It is not true 100%. The community forests are under stress. If the community forests are degrading, so are the government controlled forests. So all the community forests are not degrading, all the government forests are also not in good condition. So the stress is felt by both community forests as well as government forests. Some of the best forests of the states are in fact under community control.
Unscientific and illegal coal mining has played havoc with the environment and destroyed large parts of Meghalaya, leading to a ban in 2014. South Garo Hills was no exception to this ruthless devastation.
There are two minerals predominantly found in Meghalaya. One is limestone and there is coal. And these coal and limestone, they often overlap, they are found in the same area. So those areas where mining is done, definitely forests are degrading. If ban is lifted, some of the community forests, yes, they can be affected.
The state government on its part, through the Meghalaya Basin Development Authority, MBDA, is entering into social agreements with Garo villages with notified village reserve forests to help maintain an ecological balance and protect the catchment area.
It's very important to enrich the forests and at the same time to provide economic livelihoods for the community who are maintaining them. So with this objective, we are encouraging them to put medicinal plants, spices and various fodder plants. In this new movement, it is a multi-story plantation. Combination of a multi-story forest can be also serve as a very rich plantation so that they can earn normally from 1 hectare of areca nut, suppose, which is the most popular and favorite plantation here. From 1 hectare they would earn about 3 lakhs rupees. But from a good thick forest which has a multiple number of medicinal plants, spices, they can earn throughout the year and it will be much more than 4.5 to 5 lakhs. So in this multi-story plantation we have found that coffee is one of the best. Coffee provides the middle layer and it provides at least a sustained income throughout the year, and also it is very friendly to the wildlife. The deer eat the berries and the leopards eat the deer. So a natural forest comes up immediately within 1 year, 2 years. One of the objective is to keep the water as pure and clean as possible. And when the water is naturally clean, then the natural habitat like the fish, the snails, then the crabs, the population in these streams explode and they also again provide a livelihood. So we have found that if we protect the breeding places, they become the river sanctuaries for the fish. I feel this is a new model which unlike the more population that grows, the more cities and buildings you need, but here we need more forests. We are also looking at ecotourism in these forests. So if we can add value in the village or just next door, then the income and the economic cycle remains within the region. So these are the initiatives which we are discovering again. It was there before, but we are rediscovering them, and it's like a green movement and it helps the wildlife and also the community.
The picturesque village of Daribokre in East Garo Hills is the highest village in Garo Hills. This serene 25-household village lies on the fringe of the Nokrek Biosphere Reserve. Meghalaya follows a matrilineal system where family property is inherited from the mother by the daughter. A son-in-law from outside becomes the village chief or Nokma. Baking Armarak is destined to become the future Nokma and the custodian of the forest surrounding his village.
Dari bokri songni mandeongi singa dari bokri songo noko meetingi singa reja prangko donaha aro biosphere baksana hetal chasa sosku gtam reja prangko do matrangko repengna gata chinga antang-tang reja prangko dondapaha aru chingni reja dondapanera Garo Hills o mengsenggapa cibi marang semsang ganol aru.
The erstwhile Nokma of Daribokre, the late Spinder Areng, was a pioneer in natural resource management. Sadly, he was shot dead by militants. Today, his widow Lenish Sangma carries on the mantle as the village chief.
Angni mandini thangmatengo yari japko tonna okamon sungni mandirang di bajaha nige meng di bajani kaman bata bachangne kaman ni baja di bajani kaman okamo i bajani kaman bian okan chichi emang meeting ko singdi meeting thomna nangge ni meng bia okam hainu i bajani kaman jamanu yang the.
Daribokre's village reserve forest has a crucial elephant corridor passing through it. Wildlife Trust of India (WTI), along with the World Land Trust (WLT), has been working for nearly a decade with the Garo communities to protect critical elephant corridors passing through traditional tribal lands.
In the Garo Hills in Meghalaya, there are 6 or 7 corridors, and they link 2 very critical areas. The Nokrek National Park, which is a UNESCO Man and Biosphere Reserve, and the Balfakram National Park, which is our last national park before Bangladesh starts. So between Nokrek and Balfakram, there is a range of low hills, the Garo Hills, that almost run spine-like. And the idea was to connect these 2 very important biodiversity sites through elephant corridors as a means. That's how we entered the project. But when we entered the project, people told us that one of the most important animals for them was a hula gibbon, and for which canopy cover was important. And therefore we also took the canopy as an indicator of connectivity. So the corridors and canopies came to represent 2 very important binary aspects of linking Balfakram to Nokrek.
A good day for the villagers starts with the sound of the gibbon cry. But here, since there is a continuous loss of habitat, most of the canopy fruiting trees have been utilized by people. So gibbons are forced to come down. When they are in the ground, they are injured or killed by the stray dogs. I am standing in front of SwRa Sacred Forest on my left, and on my right is the SwRa Village Reserve Forest. Both this area are very important hollow gibbon habitat. In order to establish the connectivity between the 2 patches, the villagers of this SwRa village has decided to keep this as a village reserve forest.
We went to the Nokmas, the village leaders, and asked them to set aside land. Not give us land, not give the Wildlife Trust of India land, not give the government land, but set it aside for values that they actually already had, which were sacred groves. They used to keep aside 1/4 of their land traditionally as sacred groves. So all we said is keep this aside, and they will also serve as sacred groves, but they will also serve to connect Balfakram to Nokrek.
The biggest threat to wildlife in Garo Hills is identified as the Zoom practices, which is an age-old traditional practice, followed by developmental activities and traditional hunting. And most of the area in Garo Hills, which is a habitat to the wildlife and crucial elephant corridors, are in control of the community. Here the WTI, through various projects, various initiatives, is trying to convince the people to set aside a critical ecological and wildlife area as VRF, that is Village Reserve Forest. Till now we have counted and tagged more than 2 lakh trees, standing trees, and plus we have restored corridors, and the conflict in our area, the conflict has reduced. Presently we have acquired and secured as VRF 2 crucial elephant corridors, Sizu Rewok Imangre.
The creation of village reserve forests has had a multi-dimensional impact. It has resulted not only in habitat and wildlife protection, but also in bringing about a positive social impact on these villages.
To help them somehow in their remote lives to bring a little semblance of normalcy, whether it be in terms of healthcare or education or just connectivity, by, for example, building a hanging bridge that connects their village with the outside world, health camps, small medical aid, a blackboard for a school. So nothing big. It was not huge amounts of money, but it was strategically things that the village really needed and couldn't get, and we were able to provide it for them. And in return, they did this wonderful thing for themselves, not for us actually. They preserved their own forests.
Wildlife Protection Act, which was amended in the year 2003, has inserted a new provision whereby the community can allow certain sections of the Wildlife Protection Act to be applied to give them a handle, a better tool to effectively protect the wildlife in their respective conservation area. For the people, it has given them, it has strengthened their hands. There is a bright future for patches of forest like this. It acts as a buffer or a bulwark against any attempt to enter into the state government owned reserve forest.
From earlier times also, they had this concept of preservation. So this meshed with our laws, government laws, gives a very good combination for forest management.
I think conservation is in the blood of most tribal communities, especially forest dependent tribal communities, and in communities which are as remote in the northeast as the Garos are in parts of Garo Hills. This is very useful to them at bringing in some form of development while they can go back to their roots of preserving nature.
Today, these reserve forests stand as an eloquent testimony of a changing time where the despair of loss and greed are being overcome by the local people through hope and their self-sustaining environment protection initiative.